For thousands of years, we've talked about human beings being made in the image of God. It's one of those phrases that's shaped, well, everything. But what if we've been looking at it completely backwards? What if being the image of God isn't about some special quality we have, but it's actually about a job we were all given to do? I mean, really stop and think about that for a second. It's a huge question. What is it at the most fundamental level that gives a person their worth, their dignity? What makes them them? So, for a long, long time, the go to answer has centered on a specific list of qualities. The idea is that the image of God is this collection of amazing abilities that sets us apart. We can think logically, we have a moral compass, we create beautiful things, we think about the meaning of life. These are like the divine sparks inside us. And yeah, for centuries, this was pretty much the standard view. Theologians called it the attributes view. It just made sense, right? It put humanity in this special, elevated place. The image of God was something you had, something you possessed. But here's where that whole way of thinking runs into a really big and frankly, a really painful problem. Because if our value, our very identity as image bearers, is tied to our abilities, what happens when those abilities start to fade? Or what if they were never there to begin with? Think about someone with late-stage Alzheimer's, or a newborn with a profound cognitive disability, or even a loved one in a coma. If the image of God is all about intellect or creativity, what does that say about them? Does it mean their image is somehow less or broken? You can see how the logic here starts to get really dangerous, really fast. The ethicist John Kilner just nails it here. He says that when we start defining human worth by a checklist of capabilities, our idea of the imago Dei, the image of God, shrinks. And historically, that shrunken view has led to some awful things, to pushing the most vulnerable to the margins, and ultimately to denying their basic dignity. So, okay, is there a better way? A different way to understand this? Well, it turns out the answer isn't in some high-level philosophy. The answer is actually found by going back to the world where this phrase was first used, the world of ancient kings and empires. Okay, picture this. In ancient Egypt or Babylon, a king conquers a new territory. Now, he can't be there in person all the time, right? So what does he do? He puts up a statue, an image, of himself right in the middle of town. And that statue wasn't just decoration. It was a political statement. It screamed, "The king runs this place. His rules apply here." That image functioned as the king's stand-in. And that is the light bulb moment. The Bible takes this very political, royal idea and does something revolutionary with it. It says it's not just one king who is the image of a god. No, it says all of humanity, every single one of us, is the image of the one true king. The imago Dei isn't a quality. It's a job title. It's a royal commission, a calling to act as God's representatives here on earth. Let's just break that down because the shift is massive. The old way of thinking saw the image as a quality within us, something we possess, and it was all based on our ability. This functional view sees it as a status given to us. It's not something we possess, it's something we are. And it's not based on ability, it's based on a divine appointment. It's a total game changer. The scholar Michael Heiser puts it about as clearly as possible. We don't have the image of God, we are the image of God. We're like walking, talking statues, meant to represent God's good and loving rule right here, right now. So what's on the job description? Well, 3 big things. First, we're here to represent, to be God's agents. Second, we're here to rule, which really means to steward, to care for the world and all its creatures. And third, to cultivate, to build things, create art, discover, learn, just to participate in the ongoing project of humanity. And notice, this is a job for all of us, together. And this all leads to what is maybe the most profound and powerful implication of this entire idea. Because if our status as God's image is a job we're appointed to, it completely changes the game for human dignity. Let this sink in for a minute. This means your worth has absolutely nothing to do with your IQ score, how much you can lift, how healthy you are, or how good of a person you are. Your value is grounded entirely in your God-given status as His representative. It's not something you earn, it's something you're given. This is why this idea is so solid. As Kilner says, this kind of dignity is unshakable. It can't be chipped away by a disability, it can't be faded by old age, and it can't even be forfeited by our own worst mistakes. It is as constant as the one who gave it. So who does this view of the image of God protect? The answer is simple: everyone. It gives an unbreakable equal dignity to the elderly man with dementia, to the child with special needs, to the person on the margins of society, to the unborn child.
It confirms the incredible value of every single member of the human family, with no exceptions and no fine prints.
So here's the bottom line. It's this simple, and it's this revolutionary. If you're a human, you've got the job. If you are breathing, you are God's authorized representative on this planet. Period.
So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. If the person sitting next to you, the colleague you can't stand, even your family member who drives you up the wall, if every single one of them is a walking, talking royal representative of the creator of the universe, how would that change things? How would that change the way we see them and treat them and care for each other?